Welcome back, Guardians. This is Steven Say's World here, and today we're going to be taking a little bit of a look into what the new classes for Destiny 2 will be in the upcoming game. We're going to have first a study of the Dawnblade. This is the class we've definitely seen the most of. At least I've personally seen the most of from the reveal trailers. I wasn't at the event in Hawthorne to, personally get hands-on time, but I'm just going to be trying to get this from the perspective of someone that maybe doesn't have all the answers, but I've looked online, I've tried to get as many photos and things as I can of the skill tree, and what video footage I record from the event, and try to piece that all together to find out a little bit of the abilities that the Dawnblade has, and just kind of, and anything we don't know about, really just speculate, like the gliding and the grenades, and any passive abilities that the class might have. So, the greatest thing about this new introduction to these new classes to the game, the Sentinel, the Dawnblade, and the Arcstrider, I believe, is that they kind of start to seem like they're going to a more supportive or more RPG-ish style, Bungie at least. With the Dawnblade, we're seeing a lot of things that they can do, such as pools of light they can launch onto the ground that will heal your teammates or buff damage for you and your teammates. That's a great idea, because that's something, to be honest, Destiny 1 doesn't have a lot of depth to it when it comes to class differentiationism. Try to mess up a word there, but they just don't have anything really. They don't have anything that characterizes themselves. They can kind of all do the same thing, and unfortunately, you could basically, and that was Bungie's idea from the get-go, was like you could go into a raid, and you could go into a raid with 6 Titans. You didn't need to have a support, a tank, a healer. You didn't know the damage. You didn't need those things for this type of raid, but it did limit kind of some of the experimentation and kind of the difficulty and interest of some of the events. And so I like that they're bringing in something like the Dawnblade with its super supportive playstyle, it seems like, and what looks like from these pictures you're seeing, a super simplified skill tree that's not overly kind of weird, but you kind of get little branches of things. And there's, if you can see at the top right, you have what looks like a little bit of innate abilities that might be what those would be for the Dawnbreaker. Obviously, the Titan has a little a forward shield they can kind of put down and kind of use behind cover, pop out, take some shots, come back down, take some shots. But it looks like that's what maybe that is, or the bottom right is. Again, I can't see that real well. But we're going to just first look on the Super. We've seen a ton of the Super already. Sorry if you hear my mouse in the background a little bit, just flicking through pictures for this. And it's called, it's called Dawnblade. And it's called Dawnblade, and basically, press L1, R1, you can apparently burst into solar light, into blades, and smite your foes from the skies that we've seen in the trailers. This is more, not really, I guess more of a damage-dealing class, but it's nice that there's still some damage in this class that you can have, but still do some supportive stuff. So again, I'll probably have the picture up here right now, Empowering Rift. Press and hold, looks like control? Yeah, control for this, I have a PC shot here. Control to conjure a well of light that increases the attack power of those inside of it. And obviously the one that's not marked, the non-blue one, would be the one that would heal you and your teammates. Again, great for support. And if you look up top, we can see a little bit of the grenades. We still have 2 familiar grenades. We've got our fusion grenade, which is currently highlighted, and we have our firebolt grenades, which are unhighlighted, but we have seen them used in the, the reveal trailer. See a little bit of that there. And we have a new grenade. I don't believe that is the symbol for the solar grenade, but I could be wrong on the Sunsinger class in Destiny 1. I did main Sunsinger for a little while when the Firebolt Viking funeral meta was kind of a big thing, but once that kind of got out, I kind of fell back to my Titan, and I almost exclusively mained Titan now. So maybe that is the solar grenade. I'm going to assume that it might not be. The symbol doesn't look very familiar, but feel free to go in the comments and say yes, that is the solar grenade, and I'll read that, and I'll know that you know that I finally knew. And at the bottom, as you can see, we can start to see some of the glide abilities, and we have, I believe that's control is the one that's currently highlighted. The bottom one would be boost, I would assume, just for higher height, and the far right, or sorry, not the far right, but the right one of the glides would be kind of that middle ground of a little bit more control, more speed, so more forward momentum. I like that a lot. Again, they're not changing up too much about the classes, which is interesting, but maybe that's for the best. Again, I had been hearing a lot of people were like, well, you know, we really don't want to change too much of the classes, and a lot of people didn't really want that to be too different. Looking up another picture here, again, we see another thing called Wildfire. Engage your enemies mid-flight and fire weapons and throw grenades while gliding. This sounds very similar to the Angel of Light ability that I believe is what it's called on the Warlocks Sunsinger, and where they could, if you jumped in the air and held down the sights while mid-air, you could basically float and just kind of slowly descend, and you could just get some good headshots. Really good snipers could jump up and do some incredible plays with these things. I'm sure there's a couple videos on YouTube with just crazy Angel of Light shots. But we see, again, engage your enemies mid-flight fire, so maybe, but while you're gliding, not just hovering. So maybe this will be an ability that lets you glide, let go of that glide button, and as you continue moving, maybe you can free aim your weapon and free aim your grenades with the right analog stick and move that around, and you'll just kind of have to pay attention where you touch down. And we see a little bit more of these attunements of the sky on the top right that we see for the top right quadrant of abilities. It looks like the very top one actually would be Angel of Light, would be that ability specifically. The right one I'm not really sure of. The bottom one I believe is Flame Shield from the Sunsinger class. Again, still some similarity between this and the other class. It seems like Dawnblade is an extension of what Sunsinger is, and maybe the more, more of what Sunsinger was going to be or should have been in the game, which is a little bit more of a, again, supportive class. And the far left one in that top right, so the one on the left of the square, or sorry, the left of the point, would be, I believe that's the extra grenade. I believe that's the ability that the Sunsingers have that can get you an extra grenade charge. As far as the bottom right, I don't believe I had too many pictures that were really great at seeing it, but we see, since we see Wildfire, that you're doing something mid-glide. Maybe this will be the abilities that affect your ability to movement. This will be a movement-centric, chain of the ability tier, and top right will just kind of maybe be just occasional things, maybe your melee, you get an Angel of Light in there, maybe you get the extra grenade, nothing too serious, but it looks like a very, very interesting class. I don't know that I'll main one when Destiny 2 comes out, when it launches. I'm super excited because I have a friend who loves Sunsingers, and when he got back into Destiny for Rise of Iron, or it was either Rise of Iron or Taken King, and he was just like, man, Sunsingers is so great. And it was about a month after the Viking Funeral Firebolt grenade nerf, and I was like, you just kind of missed the good portion of what Sunsingers had left. And he was still he was really bummed about that, and I was like, still feel free to run the class. The res is still useful in raids in certain instances, and it's definitely saved us in a couple 3-man raids that we've done. But he was really disappointed, and I could feel that he wanted the class to really be more supportive. He really likes to play healer. But as soon as we heard about this and I told him about it, I was like, look, it's going to have support classes, it's going to have damage things, it's going to have healing things. He was on board. He was like, I like this. Super cool. Flaming sword with come on, with the Phoenix wings. Who's going to say that's dumb? Really? But in any case, this is, excuse me. In any case, this looks promising. And I'm going to do 2 more episodes, obviously breaking down the other 2 classes. And hopefully this wasn't too long. I just wanted to kind of do a quick breakdown of everything that I specifically knew about the Dawnblade. Obviously, there's probably new information will keep coming out, so hopefully when E3 comes around in a couple weeks, we'll see a little bit. I had been watching Fireteam Chat, which is a great channel. I'll link there in the description. Really good, and they were there with creative directors and the lead world design of Destiny 2, and Luke Smith, obviously. And they just kind of talked about a bunch of things, and were saying, like, look, this is what we're going to do with this, and I can link that right down in the description below. But I definitely say if you want to go find out as much as you can, especially about, the PC port and the console versions, and maybe a little bit of information about Scorpio, but hopefully they said we just get maybe a little bit more information from E3. Not a ton, they're like just a little bit of information. But hopefully that little bit is more of class descriptions, class abilities, a little bit of the patrol zones, see what that's kind of fleshed out a little bit more. We know that there's a story incoming, but Bungie, you gotta let us know what's going on with the patrols. We need to come in with the patrols and be happy about patrols. So, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this has run too long, and hopefully you've learned a little bit more. Again, go check it out in the description below for Fireteam Chat, and come check me back next time for the Sentinel and the Arc Strider. Until next time, you guys have a good night.